Hello, BookTube. I don't know whether or not I should be apologizing for all these 5 video days. I realize you have other things to do with your time, and so, believe it or not, do I. I just don't understand how my fellow booktubers refrain from making multiple videos every day. I don't know how they do it. There's so much book and stuff to talk about. I'm going to assume that we're okay if you let me know if this is too many videos, and I'll somehow find a way to stop. But in the meantime, we have mail to go through. A fairly hefty Friday mail pile with a box at the end. Not a very big box, but still. So we'll see what's in here that might be of intense interest, personal, psychological, and even spiritual. So what is this first one? Okay. All right. I don't know what this is. This is this is something by Donald Herman called Purple Pride, a high school coach's journey. Not my usual kind of thing at all. What is this? Oh, okay. This is from the Martha's Vineyard Gazette, a wonderful old broad-style folded paper, newspaper that is put out on Martha's Vineyard, which is an island off the coast of Massachusetts that is a vacation mecca. It has it's just a gorgeous place. I know every single inch, and Saltbox Home, and Cobblestone Street, and Blueberry Bush, anywhere on the vineyard. And I love it. I've spent time there in all seasons for a long, long time. And by a curious and very happy concatenation of circumstances, I am the book reviewer for the Martha's Vineyard Gazette. I don't know, ordinarily when I'm a book reviewer appearing regularly in a venue, I sort of voce urge you to go and subscribe to that venue and tell them why. I don't know if I can do that when it comes to the vineyard, because it's a small town newspaper, despite the fact that it's read by hundreds of thousands of people in the summer, and despite the fact that it's also read by many millionaires and billionaires who have trophy homes on the vineyard. President Obama and his wife just made the news for buying a gigantic mansion on the vineyard because when they vacationed there, they fell in love with the place, which tends to happen. I wouldn't buy a gigantic mansion myself there, but if I came into a windfall of money, I would certainly move there. But despite all that, the Vineyard Gazette is still sort of a quintessential great small-town newspaper. There are chatty local columnists. There's a large amount of avid birding news. There's a gardening column of the high school, the Board of Trade, the Board of Selectmen. All of their meetings are covered, that sort of thing. So, I mean, if you've ever been to the Vineyard, if you've ever vacationed there, and you have fond memories of the place, or if you ever, God forbid, live there, subscribe to the Vineyard Gazette, absolutely. One of the fringe benefits you'll get will be me as a book reviewer. And I will be reviewing this thing. Okay, so this guy, Donald Herman, must have a connection with the Vineyard. He is a Vineyard football coach. Okay, and I guess the cap says "respect the stash." Okay, great. All right, so that is good. That is work. It's always nice to get work. Always better to start a mail haul that way. I like starting mail hauls with work. All right, so let's see what this next one is. What is this? Also something unusual. What is this? What on earth is going on here? Oh, okay. All right, this isn't for me. Okay, all right. That's a little odd, a little on the weird side. Okay, this is just a mistake. So we'll. This mail haul is off to a very unconventional start. Let's see if we can't get a book. How about a book? Just an ordinary book from a publisher. That would be nice. What's this next one here? Okay. All right, this is a book. This is for next year. We're going to be seeing a lot of that. I think we're heading into, gradually, slowly, we're heading into September. And September, October, November, we're going to be getting lots of books for next year, for 2020. Which is going to cause a bit of a disconnect with me because I'm not going to read any of those books until 2020. So we're going to be getting a lot of books that I'm just going to not know anything about, not be able to talk about any kind of engagement with. That's going to feel a little strange. And this is one of them. I will certainly be reviewing this, but not until the new year. This comes out in late January of 2020 as a hardcover. And it is by David Marwell, and it's a biography of Josef Mengele, Unmasking the Angel of Death. Mengele hasn't had a biography in a few years, so this, let's see here. One of the most notorious war criminals of all time, Dr. Mengele has come to symbolize both the evil of the Nazi regime and the failure of justice in a post-war world. Drawing on new scholarship and sources, historian David Marwell examines Mengele's life and career, chronicling his university studies, which led to 2 PhDs and a promising career as a scientist. His wartime service in combat and at Auschwitz, where his selections determined the fate of countless innocents, and his scientific pursuits resulted in the traumatization and death of thousands more, and his post-war refuge in Germany and South America. Mengele describes the international search in 1985, which ended in a cemetery in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and a dogged forensic investigation that produced overwhelming evidence that Mengele had died, but failed to convince those who arguably most wanted him dead. This is a story of science without limits, escape without freedom, and resolution without justice. That's a well-written call sheet. Okay. All right. Well, great. It's going to be. I'm going to be a little Nazi'd out by that because there are not one but 2 enormous Hitler biographies coming out in rapid succession by the end of this year. So let's see what this thing is. It's flopping. So I'm guessing this doesn't need to be much of a Sherlock Holmes to know this is 2 books. So let's see what these are. There are 2 books here. Oh, what have we here? Okay. These look to be self-published. What do we have? Do we have a note of any kind? No? No? Oh, there is a note. Okay, let's find out. What an unconventional mail haul this is. A little piece of mail that's not my own, a Vineyard book, now some self-published stuff. Okay, these are 2 books from an indie author. Okay, so I am an indie author. Huge fan of your channel. Isn't that nice? Thank you. Although, you're not fooling anybody. You're a fan of Frida. Not of my channel. Nobody's a fan of my channel. Everybody loves Frida. Okay, so if you would like to tell your viewers, the books are on Kindle Unlimited. So if anyone subscribes to that and they have an interest, they can read for free, and the author would be most grateful. Kindle Unlimited I have tried myself, and it's an amazing thing. If you're an avid reader, that is money well spent. So let's see what the books are, now that you know. So these are going to be, they're on Kindle Unlimited for free, but they'll be on Kindle for a nominal price, too, for a reasonable price. Usually these things are. I don't have the computer in front of me, so I can't say what the price of these is if you don't go on Kindle. But what have we got here? So, let's see. The first one, these are by Jane B. Knight. Sorry, I should get to that, shouldn't I? The first one was called The Alpha's Daughter. See that with a painted cover there. What happens when the non-werewolf daughter of the Wolstenholme Pack Alpha meets a mysterious werewolf at the court of the infamous Henry Tudor? What? Tamsin Wolstenholme was sent to Hampton Palace with instructions to steal the king away from his new queen. Fortunately for Anne Boleyn, Tamsin only has eyes for Henry's handsome guard. Walter Craik has been sent by his father to protect Henry VIII and to try to return the errant monarch to Catholicism. When beautiful Tamsin Wolstenholme, I don't know why I'm having trouble with that name, steals his heart, will he have the courage to betray everything he holds dear? Oh my God! So this is a werewolf romance novel set in Tudor England. Okay, well, I'm now rapidly understanding why this author sent it to me. Okay, and the next one is called The Wolf's Pregnant Bride. So I'm getting, there's another lovely painted cover there. I'm getting the impression this author writes werewolf romance novels. Most, if you go to, for instance, Kindle Unlimited, most werewolf romance novels do not look like this. So kudos to the author for resisting. So what do we got here? One night of poor judgment during a ball leaves Sophronia with child. Her baby's father, the heir to the Marquis of Wolstenholme, has already married and so to avoid a scandal, his younger brother is ordered to marry her. The last thing Nathaniel Wolstenholme wants is a wife. He is not the heir to the title, estate, or leadership of the pack. Okay, so the Marquess of Wolstenholme is not just a Lord of the Realm, but also the head of a werewolf clan. Interesting. So we're marrying Regency-style British nobility romance with werewolf fiction, and all of it wrapped up in romance. Still, Nathaniel knows that a werewolf pup is a valuable asset, and his nephew or niece should be raised with other members of the pack. He just hopes his new bride doesn't expect love to grow. His heart still belongs to Vivian, even though she would never marry a man with no title. She doesn't sound like any good. Sophronia and Nathaniel's union has barely begun when werewolves suddenly start showing up dead. When one of the murderers hits close to home, Nathaniel must reveal himself to Sophronia. Together, they must protect those they love and discover who is responsible for the grisly murders. Okay, so I'm going to guess, just off the top of my head here, that one of those dead werewolves turns out to be the heir to the Marquessate, and that are thereby, in the course of examining this whole mystery, Nathaniel is going to become the heir. But listen to that. I'm doing Regency novel speculation about a werewolf novel. How much fun is that? Okay, so Jane B. Knight, thank you very much for sending me these. I'm perfectly open. I should say this more often on this channel. I'm perfectly open to indie authors of any kind sending me their work. Absolutely. I can guarantee one thing just out of the starting gate, which is this, which is not a small thing. I'm going to hold your book up, read its cover copy, and muse about it, about its appeals, any problems that come. That's the danger, the risk you run. But I usually don't do that. I'm going to hold it up in front of an audience of thousands of people and talk about it. That I can guarantee. And for an indie author, that's a lot. I can't go any further than that, except to say the one other guarantee that I can make is not visible. You won't know it, which is that I will read it. I will read these books. I read everything I'm saying. The only other thing, the thing that all indie authors care about more than anything else, except maybe Frida, is a review. And I can't guarantee that. Because I'm not going to guarantee sight unseen. The only thing that would ever do that would be if you're a paying editor, in which case, yes, I can guarantee it. But it's how wonderful to get these. They both sound absolutely fantastic. Tudor fiction mixed with werewolf fiction, and a standard Regency-style story. You take out the werewolf stuff in that plot description I just read you, it would be a normal Regency story. Fantastic. Okay, so, all right, so it's still unusual. I should point out, Josef Mengele, of all people, is the only normal thing in this mail haul so far. So let's keep going, see if that stays true. Maybe one of these things is a box of Kit Kats. Let's see. Oh my! Oh, isn't that pretty? Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, we got this. We saw this on this channel. This comes out at the end of August. Boy, I didn't know it was going to be so nice looking. Wow. Just shallow enough for that to mean something. This is from Harvard University Press. We saw this already. This is by John O'Malley, and it's When Bishops Meet. But the finished copy is no dust jacket. It's just gold embossed on red. Very nice. Very nice. And this is a history, an essay, comparing the Councils of Trent, Vatican I, and Vatican II, from one of our foremost church historians. John O'Malley has spent much of his career studying the most recent councils in the history of the Catholic Church, Trent, Vatican I, and Vatican II. He's previously looked at all of them separately, but in this book he finds that by looking at them together they provide an interesting picture of the history of the Catholic Church and a guide to understanding Catholicism. Putting issues side by side and showing the similarities and differences of the three councils throws new and important light on them, and on the council phenomenon as such. That sounds like it would happen. Oh man. Get to this, and fortunately it can shoot right to the front of the list because it's August 30th, so it's just a week away. Okay, great. I had no idea that this would be such a pretty little thing, but I am now fully on board. Okay, all right. So right now that is at the head of the list, and not just because it's the only book that that's coming up, but well, actually I don't know about the the werewolf romances. I don't know if those are out already or not. But if they sounded intriguing, keep in mind two things. One, I mean, you'll know before I will. I will say that I'm going to post the prices in the discussion section of the video, and then I'll forget, and then one of you will do it. It's like you're all caretaking a senescent senior citizen that you know in common. But not only are these things bound to have a reasonable price on Amazon, but as the author pointed out, they're free on Amazon Unlimited. And Amazon Unlimited, if you look into it, if you're comfortable reading on your e-reader, as I am, boy, oh boy, is it a great deal. You get a lot. So what have we got? What's next here? Oh, God, help us. I recognize that face like it was my own. Oh, good, help us. I have written about this person so much. It feels, wow, all right. So what have we got here? Oh, what have we got here? This is, do we have a date? Are you going to tell me a date? Are you going to tell me anything about this? This is next year, I'm sure. No, okay, no. It's mid-November of this year. It's about mid-November of this year. This is by Robert Jobson, and it is King Charles. The man, the monarch, and the future of Britain. Little jumping of the gun here. Let's see what we have here. With Queen Elizabeth at the age of 93, His Royal Highness Charles, Prince of Wales, stands on the cusp of kingship. Like Funny does. Her mother lived for another 10 years at 93. In perfect health, not in perfect health, but in ambulatory health and in razor-sharp state of mind until the last day of her 101st birthday, her 101st year on Earth. The last day of her life, her mind started to fog a little. Up until then, a solid century of razor-sharp wit and personal presence. And her daughter is even healthier than she was, so I wouldn't go expecting that. The Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, had fantastic German genes that saw her well into her century mark. But for the last 60 of those years, she was pickled almost all the time, and that has deleterious effects on your health. And her daughter doesn't partake anywhere near. So I wouldn't say cusp if I were you. What better time to debunk the myths about the man and explore his profoundly held beliefs and deep thinking about politics, including the UK's relationship with the US. Those of you who are in the UK, get out of that relationship as fast as you can. We are a sinking ship. Okay. About religion, including Islam. About Brexit, immigration, climate change, and the armed services, and even the monarchy itself. And Prince Charles was ahead of the curve on climate change by about 30 years. Based on what he observed during his travels alongside Prince Charles around the UK and the world over a 2-year period, and drawing, okay, I need to know, the word alongside in that sentence is doing a lot of work. I need to know what that means. Alongside, I need to know what that means. I'll have to find out what that means, because everything depends on that. If you're in the press pool, 5 planes back, you could call yourself alongside, but you wouldn't know anything that I can't know. So I'll have to find out about that. And drawing on the knowledge and memories of a number of sources close to the prince, who have never spoken on the record before, as well as members of the royal household who have served with the prince during his decades of public service, the author provides insight into the extraordinary life of Prince Charles on the heels of his 70th birthday at a watershed moment in the history of modern Britain. Okay, in this book, Jobson reveals, among other things, 1, plans are in place for Charles to serve as Prince Regent once the Queen turns 95, and he already reads all government briefings at his mother's insistence. What the heck does that mean? 95? 2 years from now? Prince Regent? What the heck does that mean? She's not going to abdicate. She swore that she would not abdicate. What that means. Also, Charles feels it's his constitutional duty to pass on to ministers his thoughts and feelings, and he does so in controversial Black Spider memos. Yes, I've read all about those. He's much more hands-on than his mother, and I don't think the British public are going to like that. And also, the last bullet point here, Charles has a deeply loving but occasionally volatile relationship with his second wife and chief supporter, Camilla. A window into the kind of ruler Charles III will inevitably be once he ascends the throne, King Charles offers a rare look at the House of Windsor, past, present, and future by an author who has been dubbed the godfather of royal reporting. Okay. All right, so this comes out in mid-November. I have a lot of research to do on this guy, although I know one thing for sure. I don't like his choice of title. It might seem cheeky, and I'm sure that the publicity people at this publishing house, this is Diversion? I'm sure the publicity people at Diversion thought, well, why not go for the gold? But there is no King Charles while there's a Queen Elizabeth. We'll see. We'll see. I won't get too prissy about it. We'll see what the book has to offer. I read everything there is that comes out about the House of Windsor, so I'm right on board for this one. Okay, this next one is from Thomas and Mercer, the thriller arm of Amazon Publishing. This is Lost Hills by Lee Goldberg, another January book. And this is the launch of a new and gritty, authentic police procedural series, which is already collecting high praise from the genre's top writers, including Michael Connelly, Tana French, and Lisa Gardner. All three I don't like. Deputy Eve Ronan becomes the youngest female homicide detective in Los Angeles County Sheriff Department history, after a video of her off-duty arrest of an abusive movie star goes viral. Now, Eve, who has little experience and a lot to learn, is determined to prove she's worthy of the promotion. Her chance comes when she and her burned-out, soon-to-retire partner are called to the blood-splattered house of a missing single mother and her 2 kids. The horrific carnage screams murder, but there are no corpses. Eve must rely on her instincts and tenacity to find the bodies and capture the vicious killer, all while battling her own insecurities and mounting pressures from the media, her bosses, and the distraught family. Okay, that does sound good. This comes out on the very first day of the year, but I'm always in the mood for a procedural thriller. So let's see what this next one is. This is very thin. Oh, fantastic! Oh, great. Okay, this is something I requested. This is an advanced copy of a new translation, which comes out in mid-August, or mid-October. And this is The Battle Between the Frogs and the Mice, from Homer. Translated by A.E. Stallings, who's fantastic, just fantastic. From award-winning poet and translator A.E. Stallings comes a lively new edition of the ancient Greek fable, The Battle Between the Frogs and Mice, originally attributed to Homer, but now thought to have been composed centuries later by an unknown author. And this is that story, which will be famous. I'm sure you've read versions of it in anthologies of literature, but profusely illustrated on every page. Just an absolute delight of a thing. Someone taking this little thing, translating it, and making the finished product a delight, which is great. Okay, so. All right, so we're blasting right along here. What are we doing for... My computer is flashing a warning at me here, and I don't quite know why. Oh. Well, I don't know what that did there. My computer was telling me that I and everyone I know would die in horrible agony if I didn't empty my trash. So I don't know if you heard that or not. But the warning sign has gone away, so we'll just continue here. I guess it was recording right through that. How weird! What a weird mail all this is. All right, let's just press on, shall we? Okay, this is we saw this already. We saw the advanced copy of this. This is a paperback original, $16, by Deborah Hewitt. This is science fiction and fantasy. This is The Nightjar, with a lovely. It's got deckled edges and the French flaps. It's a lovely finished copy of this author's debut fantasy, in which Alice Wyndham discovers magical powers in a hidden world on a journey to save her best friend. She's been plagued by visions of birds her whole life, until the mysterious Crowley reveals that Alice is an aviarist, capable of seeing nightjars, magical birds that guard human souls. When her best friend is hit by a car, only Alice can find and save her nightjar. With Crowley's help, Alice travels to the Rookery, a hidden magical alternative London, to hone her newfound talents. Alice must risk everything to save her best friend and uncover the strange truth about herself. Okay, that sounds fascinating. And this comes out, this is a trade paperback original that comes out in early September. I think we saw this already, but I don't remember, I didn't remember the date. And I don't think I remembered that it was coming out as a pretty paperback, but it is. Good. Wonderful. All right, let's press right on here before anything else weird happens. Let's press before I get another warning or something like that. So what have we got? Okay. All right. Okay. This is Essays 1 by Lydia Davis, a writer whose originality, influence, and wit are beyond compare. Best known for her masterful short stories and translations, Davis's gifts extend equally to her nonfiction, of course. In Essays 1, Davis has, for the first time, gathered a selection of essays, commentaries, and lectures composed over 5 decades. In this first of 2 volumes, her subjects range from her earliest influences to her favorite stories, from John Ashbery's translations of Rimbaud to Alan Coates' painting, and from Shepard's Psalm to early tourist photographs. On display is the development and range of one of the sharpest, most capacious minds writing today. I wonder. Oh, no. Okay, these essays seem to be normal length. Okay. All right, so this could very well be a case where an author who has never done the slightest bit to please me in fiction pleases me very much in nonfiction. This could easily be a case of that. My mind is now wide open to the chance. Great. Okay, so and this also comes out in mid-November, so I can get right to this. I can get right to a lot of these things. And now we have made our way to the end. We are now at the box. And there have been no whoopee cushions, and there have been no boxes of Kit Kats. But I'm also not opening other people's mail. I'm not opening self-published books or anything like that. We've just got a box, and then we'll be done. So what is this next book? Oh, my. Okay. Okay. This is by Michael Kellogg. What have we got here? Okay. Well, it's by Michael Kellogg, and it's called Review Copy Not for Resale. I'm assuming that's the title because it's by far the most noticeable thing on the cover on a sticker that cannot be removed. So I'm gathering that there was a previous title to the book that was underneath that, and then upon further consultation with editors and authors, they decided to change it to Review Copy Not for Resale. But the book itself looks like a biography-driven history of the Renaissance, which is lots of fun. This engaging survey of important works spanning the lives from Petrarch to Shakespeare reveals the depth and thought and the diversity and expression that characterized the Renaissance. The author examines poetry, philosophical treatises, essays, letters, novels, comedies, dramas, documenting the unique array of evolving concerns that drove the Renaissance search for wisdom. And who, let's check the table of contents, see, is it the usual suspects? It'll probably be the usual suspects. Okay, so chapter 1 is Petrarch. Oh, chapter 2 is Erasmus. A whole chapter on Erasmus. Then Machiavelli, Thomas More, Castiglione, Rabelais, Montaigne, Cervantes, and Shakespeare. Okay, great. Fantastic. And the author, Michael Kellogg, is the author of The Wisdom of the Middle Ages, The Roman Search for Wisdom, The Greek Search for Wisdom, and 3 Questions We Never Stop Asking. He was educated at Stanford and Oxford in philosophy and and at Harvard Law School. And he is the founding and managing partner at Kellogg, Hanson, Todd, Feigl, and Frederick PLLC in Washington, D.C. Okay, so he's done this before. I think we might have seen the Middle Ages one. But I think that one was actually... I mean, I don't understand. If you have a series, The Roman Search for Wisdom, The Wisdom of the Middle Ages, The Greek Search for Wisdom, why would you call the latest one Review Copy Not for Resale? I don't get that. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We'll judge the book by the book and not by the title. I am always up to read what someone has to say about half those people. All of those names are old friends of mine. So great. All right, so we are done with the mail. We made it from one end to the other. So we have Review Copy Not for Resale, the spine still says the wisdom of the Renaissance. That would have been a better title to go with. But that I don't have a sheet for it at all. I mean, I do. I have the sheet of paper that came with it, but it was an invoice. We don't look at those. But this is a finished copy for $28, so I'm imagining this is soon. This is probably a September release. So we have a review copy not for resale. We have the battle between the frogs and the mice in a lovely, oversized, illustrated edition. How fun is that? We have Essays 1 by Lydia Davis, whose fiction I do not like. We shall see if her nonfiction does any better. We have a lovely finished copy of Deborah Hewitt's debut, The Nightjar. Really, really pretty thing if you're into fantasy. Then we have Lee Goldberg, The Lost Hills, which is not a debut, but it is the first in a new series. We have a book rather presumptuously called King Charles, about the Prince of Wales, about the heir to the throne, who might have to wait another 10 years to be king. Or certainly, being regent isn't going to... there's only one way for him to become king. And it hasn't happened. It shows no signs of happening. So, still, the book could be, the title notwithstanding, could be really good. Then what else we got here? Mengele, a new biography of Josef Mengele, coming out in the new year. Purple Pride, Respect the Stash, about a Martha's Vineyard football coach and the lessons he's learned over a long career. That'll be fun to read on its own. We have When Bishops Meet by John O'Malley, in a very pretty little hardcover, about the Council of Trent, Vatican I and Vatican II. And we have 2 werewolf romance novels by Jane B. Knight. So the one is The Wolf's Pregnant Bride. That's the one that sounded like werewolves do Regency romance. And then the other one is The Alpha's Daughter, which is werewolves in Tudor England in the court of Henry VIII. Have you ever heard of such a thing? So there we go. That was our mail haul, and we survived. So I'm going to wrap this up. Sorry about that. Sorry about the weird break in the middle there, too. I'm going to have to play this video. I usually don't play my videos back. I'm going to have to play this video and see what happens there. Do you hear me cursing in Carthaginian or what? But in the meantime, I'm going to wrap this up. But I will be back. Thank you, Book 2.